Shumpman, that boy up to something. Shumpman, man, that boy ain't scared of nothing. Shumpman, put that hot top on the Shumpman.
It's Matty Patty, coast to coast. From Brooklyn, this is Pat McMenamin. To San Francisco, it's Matt Youngner. Say hello, Matty.
Hey, Patty. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing better. Shumpman, he's back.
Shumpman.
Shump. So excited. First time I got the tweet, texted to you earlier this week. It auto-corrected to Shump.
That's a great sign.
Apparently I already saved that into my phone vocabulary. Welcome to the Cleveland Sports Hour with Matty and Patty, two self-aware but unapologetic homers who spend far too much time watching, reading, and thinking about the Cavs, the Browns, and the Tribes. So if you like the informed, intelligent Cleveland fans' perspective, you've come to the right place. So Shumpman returns is the breaking news, Matty, but I think you and I need to reveal something right off the bat to our loyal listeners. This is not comfortable for me to admit, but it's something that I think we have to admit.
They need to know.
Friends, Matty and Patty are fighting.
A lot.
You guys know how to work this TV? I tried the button, but it doesn't go.
Go back inside!
Oh, you guys are fighting.
We're fighting!
Right.
That's how I felt. Go back.
Oh, that's good.
We are fighting. I'll summarize for our listeners who don't know our increasingly bitter texting exchange how it developed, but it's a holdover from our last podcast, right? When the Cavs played poorly and lost to two overachieving Eastern Conference teams they each had very athletic front courts, right? The Milwaukee Bucks and the Pistons.
Correct.
They have everything your girl Kevin Love doesn't have. They have length, athleticism, youth, leaping ability, defense, grit, and everything that your girl does have. The three-ball shooting, the preternatural rebounding, the silky post game, the full court passes, the passing from the elbow, all that court savvy. Either just doesn't shine as bright in comparison or as dim beyond sight. So that was sort of how we were feeling at the time. Since then the Cavs, dismantled the Bucks on second viewing, so it felt a little better. But then they kept falling back into it again against a bunch of more teams, so it was getting increasingly concerning. The tenor
against
of
not good teams too, Pat.
Yes, exactly, against not good teams. The Bucks aren't that good, although they did beat the Golden State Warriors. Fuck them.
But the Wizards we lost to badly. The Wizards would not make the playoffs, and I don't think are going to make the playoffs.
Yep.
The Pelicans are not going to make the playoffs.
Although they had been pretty improved over the past couple of games leading up to that game, but still
they were finally getting healthy. But still.
I still take your point. Because they have been playing some good games lately, but still I take your point.
And that horrible blowout against the Heat too.
Yes,
let's not forget.
Well, yes, there's a lot of circumstances to that, but still. The point being that if I were to boil down your arguments, it came down to the argument that the league itself has evolved towards athleticism. And since last season, the league has become more athletic, and we have not. And we have not. And we have built a team to win from 2010 to 2014, but not from 2015 to 2018, right? Does that's a good summation of your argument?
Close. I think it's the league is going away from bigs generally. That's not news, right? And maybe our bigs are less prepared for what the league looks like than some other teams might be.
Right. Whereas I'm arguing that skill is always valued, so you can't overreact. Our current struggles, I felt, were a combination of bullshit effort and questionable schemes. Plus, I'll toss in two key players who were playing poorly, and that does have an impact on our roster when they're playing poorly, regardless of Kyrie and Shump being out. So at the root of our fight is this, and this is what we're devoting the podcast to today. Do we have the personnel, injured and healthy, to execute a championship game plan against Golden State, San Antonio, or the East? Or are we simply too old, slow, and last decade? So that's the focus tonight. We're going to drift away from the weekly recap of each game. It's just as well. I mean, we can't keep it up, and really, what do we add? It's better that we come to you guys when we have something original to bring to the table. So we're going to talk about the Cavs. Are they built to win? With their pre-shot Kyrie struggles is significant or something to worry about when we're at full strength. Can Golden State go fuck itself enough?
They cannot.
Okay, thank you. And also, Matty, you have some interesting Browns hypotheticals to discuss, and maybe a little Indians news.
I want 2 minutes on the Indians at the end.
2 minutes. 2 minute
Yeah.
drive. 2 minute drive. So, Matty, why don't you take the floor? Give me your opening statement for why I am so wrong about everything involving the Cavs, and why you felt compelled to take such a tone, such a mean, nasty, vindictive tone in all your text to me. Just so mean.
The reason for the tone is personal and has nothing to do with the Cavs, Pat. That's our shit.
I just don't like you.
Yeah. So I want to frame this by saying that if you go back to our first podcast and you told us that on December 14th the Cavs were going to be 14-7, leading the East, no Shumpman, no Kyrie, none of them back early. Little bit of injury bug that we have had, I would have said, that's great. Things seem right on track. We're not paying attention to the regular season, not taking it too seriously. That's better than I probably expected. Shumpman, Kyrie will come back. We'll round into form in the winter and be there in the spring. Everything is great. And I think there's still a chance that that's true. But while I feel like, we are in a window, Pat. We're 36 years old. If we're going to get a championship sometime, it's going to be these next couple years with this team.
I like that you say our age. Our age is a factor in this.
Oh yeah, man. We're running on borrowed time here. So I feel like we have to take this like deadly seriously as much as you can. Professional basketball. And that means really taking as honest a look as we can at the team that's out there on the court. And that team for the last month or so has been not great. And I guess our chief argument is that just effort and it's the regular season and they know that they don't have to really try now, which is disappointing in some ways, but also just what we said at the beginning of the season. They shouldn't be trying that hard. They should take it easy. This doesn't matter.
Right, but that's not how you play. You have to try hard. You just have to rest your players. Like the Spurs do it because they don't have all their shit together, but they're still playing hard. They're still playing smart. They're just not playing at the peak of their abilities, and they sit guys all the time.
Right,
these guys are playing like shit.
Right, and so my concern is there something else there with either our personnel or how they're deployed that is a bigger problem. And that's my concern. Kevin Love has played badly, in my opinion, for the last month or so. He started out the season great, but he went 4 games without hitting a 3. He's not shooting. I know there's all the stats about how good his post shooting is. I can't remember what it was, like 80% or something on some made up stat about looks.
It's something your brother sent.
Yeah, but if you look at him, he's shooting 43%.
Yeah,
from the field, 36% from 3-point range, 37% from 3-point range, and a lot of times out there, he just doesn't look fast or strong or tough enough to really get stuff done. Like he goes weak to the rim. I'm just have been pretty thoroughly unimpressed with his play. His passing was very nice in the Orlando game. I noted that, and I'm not saying he's terrible, but like, if we're playing Golden State and they have their lineup of death out, I don't think we can have him out on the court. I don't think he can play, and I'll go further. I don't know that TT can play either against that team. I feel like our best lineup, if they're out there, is LeBron at the 5 with some mix of Shumpert, Smith, Irving, Dellavedova, and Mo Williams, I guess. I just don't know that those guys and TT is another concern for me, right? Like I don't expect the world from him, but he really can't do anything out there, man. Besides rebound.
Right. Well, but he can. He just hasn't been doing it in the sense of we don't need him to be able to take a ton of shots. He doesn't need to be that integral in offense. We can find ways to hide on offense. I don't think he's hurting us on offense. Look, he is hurting us in the sense that he can't shoot, but
not even just can't shoot, but can't beyond the lob play with Delly, which I think will get ferreted out. We saw that happen last year in the finals eventually, right? Like they just, and Delly's a little better. Delly's been a bright spot this season, but in general, I'm just I'm concerned about that. And
Well,
longer term, we've got a ton of money locked into those guys, and if they can't cut it, that's a big problem.
okay.
So that's my opening statement.
All right. So my rebuttal is that, and you've been much more measured, by the way, Matty, now than you were in your texts.
Yeah, I was trying to upset you.
Yeah. Well, no, but you and your texts, for the most part, Matty, sound a little bit more like this to me.
This little girl has survived longer than that with no weapons and no training. Why don't you put her in
Well, I don't care how, but we better think of something. We better think of a way.
Think of what?
So that was more or less what your texts are coming across to me as: constant negativity, constant. This team is terrible or horrible. We just can't keep up. We don't have the athleticism. And to me, while the Browns,
one thing.
Yes.
To be fair, I was actually watching these games that we were losing while you were not.
Oh, cheap shot.
So it's much easier. I admit there's some alarmism there, but that's what happens when you're watching your team play terribly. Versus doing whatever you're doing, going to premieres or whatever. Whatever your wife's dragged you into.
There's a certain point in the quality of life, mental health, when you need to take a step away from the game. Well, most of them I wanted to watch, and I was, driving to Cleveland for Thanksgiving. I'm actually making that drive again this end of this week because I didn't buy my plane tickets in time. Oh, fucking idiot. Although, frankly, the drive wasn't that bad, actually. Arthur and Saul together are pretty decent drivers, road trippers. Anyway, and I chose to skip the Heat game, although I watched a full quarter of it. I just wasn't in the mood to watch,
the team that's our highest hope for ever having a championship just looked terrible.
Yeah. Not in this spell where LeBron
makes people say some things.
Kevin Love is not playing well. It was going to end poorly. I think we all knew that. And I watched long enough to see if we could turn things around. But my point has always been, in counter to you, is that things are shitty right now. I'm not saying we shouldn't be concerned. I'm not saying we shouldn't be upset. Because I've been watching these games. I haven't seen every single one, but I've been watching a lot of them, and continually I'm seeing the same problems every single time. So I don't think I'm missing anything, or I've missed anything that would give me extra reason for concern. It's gotten to the point where I felt like if we were playing 500 ball, I wouldn't be so upset if we were playing well. But I feel like I'm more upset that we're winning some of these games, but we're playing like shit against bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't account it to athleticism or lack of athleticism or the way they're built. I attribute it to current guys playing poorly, playing well below what they're capable of based upon last year. Because we didn't change this team. We brought the whole same team back, and it's not Richard Jefferson and Mo Williams' fault that we're playing this poorly. Although they aren't helping. No, most nights.
Neither of them are helping right now.
No, and we'll talk about that. But it struck me that it's one mentality and mindset, which is bad. You don't want that. You don't want you're forming your habits now, right? So it's not good to be. I'm glad that LeBron's on them. Maybe scheme. Given the fact that we don't have Shump, that we're a little bit limited on the perimeter with defense. But most of me comes back down to Mozgov. Like, this team looks exactly like it did last year, this time of year, right? Really poor perimeter defense that gave a lot of guys just their guards just flying at the rim. And I'm sorry, Love's never going to be a great defender with guys flying at the rim. Mozgov, though, was that stopgap last year that just was able to stop that action. He was our defensive last resort, and that sort of just started making everything easier. We could get more aggressive on the perimeter because we knew Mozgov was there to stop the penetration. And he was only playing 20, 25 minutes a game, so it's not like he was solving that problem when he wasn't on the court.
Right.
But it led to that defensive energy that then just picked up throughout the entire team. And then Shump came along as well because he didn't start playing for like a month after that trade last year. So my rebuttal is mostly built on, we know what this team is capable of. We saw them do it last year. We saw them destroy the entire league, athletic teams and not. in the second half of last year. They had the same exact roster. They're missing 2 guys, yeah, but that's what's been bugging me. They shouldn't be this bad with the guys that they have, and I think a lot of that's just scheme and a few guys in particular, Mozgov and Love, who at the moment are playing well below what they're capable of. So I'm not happy about it, but I am not despairing. Like I said, Matt, so the way you were talking was so despairing. I felt like it was an insult to the Browns, who are also here, Matt. That they can hear you. That's the team that you should be despairing and talking this way about. This is the Cavs. They give us they've given us ample reason to hope and trust them to turn it around. Right? We can call it out when they're playing poorly, but you just can't despair on a team like the Cavs. It's too much despair to hold in your sports fans' heart. Like, I'm worried about you, Matty.
Yeah, this is a yes, but Patty, I think you need to. You got to start taking this situation way more seriously. Way more seriously. 36 years, 0 parades.
Matt,
This is it. We got peak LeBron, close to peak LeBron for another couple years, and then who knows? You just saw the cliff Kobe fell off, right?
Mm-hmm.
After he turned. His team never made the playoffs after he turned 33. LeBron turns 31 this year. Now, there's differences there, so I won't read too much into that, but this is it, man. And I'm living out here with the juggernaut of a Warriors team that is not screwing around, that is not having its act together, that is not taking its opponent seriously.
Mm-hmm.
That's in my head, man, and I think it should be. It should be in all our heads.
Yeah, well, Matt,
there's not second place is a failure for us this year.
Of course, yeah. It's
different than the Browns. If the Browns won 6 games, I would have been happy and said, "Oh, well, look at them."
Yeah,
but
I've spent far too many years staring deep into the dark abyss and letting it get to me. It's just not healthy, and I'm annoyed at the Cavs for not giving me unadulterated joy in the other part of the season, but I can't let it get to me because these times are so few and far between too, Matty. We have to appreciate a good team. Yes, I agree. Second place is worthless. But I'm much happier just having a team that's good at basketball. I'm going to focus on that for now and be patient to see if they can figure this shit out, because I think it's within their power to do so. Because, you can stare in the abyss all you want and face up to it. But when you're deeply falling into it, you don't think to yourself, boy, I really wish I'd spent the last 6 months of this run thinking about falling into this abyss now that I'm falling into it. If we lose in the finals, I'll deal with those soul-crushing emotions then. Right now, I'm gonna be positive and hope for the best.
Well, my only bump against that, generally I agree with you, and we should enjoy the ride, and that's a fair point. This team demonstrated last year that there's stuff you can do in a season to improve a roster, right? And I think we just want to be. This is how I don't want to tinker with this team. I felt great about it coming into the year. I felt great about it at various times during the season, but this isn't the roster we have to finish the season with necessarily. Mm-hmm. And we do have some pieces to play with. We do have the trade exceptions to mess around with. We do have, I guess Love and Thompson as potential trade pieces, or Mozgov as a potential trade piece. I don't know that that's going to be easy or doable, or that we should do it, but I want to look really honestly at this team and players and think about what we got. Now, I don't think we should do any of that until we get Shumpman and Kyrie back, and until we start playing some real teams. We haven't really played anybody good this year, by the way.
That's true.
That's maybe most concerning. Who's the best team that we've played? Miami.
We handled Miami in our first outing.
Our first go round, we handled them. True, they were still getting their act together a little bit. Like Chicago's not good. Memphis isn't good. Mm-mm. Indiana's pretty good, but they're not a championship contender.
Raptors are pretty good this year, surprisingly. Like they do look legit, and they beat us. Yeah, but it was close.
But after that, we've played bad teams.
That's true. We're gonna find out what we're made of very soon. Christmas Day coming up.
Well, even this week, Boston's not nothing, and Oklahoma City on Thursday. Mm-hmm. This first road trip is only 4 games, and only really Golden State is good. Mm-hmm. It's Golden State, then to Portland, then to Phoenix, then to Denver.
Right.
But But man, I mean, part of it is there's just not so many elite teams, right? Like I think there's 3. If we're counting the Cavs, I think there's 3 elite teams.
Yeah.
Us, Golden State, and San Antonio, and with the possibility of Oklahoma City floating in there right now too.
Yeah, they're they've been very up and down too, honestly. But they just have 2 crazy scorers that they're always a threat to win. All right, so
you're right. So I will admit to you, Pat, that you were seeing overreaction for the most part, but to what was some really quite terrible basketball, like getting blown out at home by the Wizards is not acceptable. The Pelicans game, looked better in the end, but that's LeBron had to put on his cape and do his thing.
Yeah, no,
in that fourth quarter, and Ryan Anderson completely and totally outplayed Kevin Love in that game, completely and totally.
Well, let me jump back to Kevin Love then, because and I agree. If I'd watched the Wizards game, I probably would have been much angrier and darker. But I'm really trying hard. I'm actively trying hard to ward off those emotions. But Love, so I was watching him again the other night. He was playing okay, but he looks like he did last year in terms of his movement. Like in the first 2 weeks of the season, he seemed much more spry. I've never really seen Kevin Love go real hard to the rim. Like he's not that kind of player, so that's always kind of annoying, and that's not really his game, which is frustrating when you get these nice passes that get on the ball underneath the basket, and he can't like finish with authority because he's not like that, which is a problem, which is a gap in his game, which makes him not invincible. But he looks like he's hurt or his back's acting. Like he looks ginger out there. Did you sense that watching him?
A little bit lately, I think he has a little, but I'm starting to wonder if that's just how he plays now.
Yeah, or if that's
and there's no reports on him. There's no reports on him being injured at all.
No, I agree. But
and there weren't a ton last year, and I think we both sort of knew that he was. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'd love it if that was the problem.
Well,
in some ways, I guess maybe I wouldn't love it. Maybe that's just more concerning, and it means that he's always going to be that kind of banged up. Like, would you rather have him or Draymond Green right now?
Oh, Jesus. I mean, the thing about Draymond Green, I still feel like, is that Draymond Green is only that good on that team. I mean, although people are pointing out, I haven't watched the Golden State Warriors enough. I've watched them a little bit, and Draymond has looked pretty good. But like the thing that we did to him in the finals of hey, drive to the basket, make decisions. Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes. And he was just a complete and utter spaz and disaster. He's kind of gotten better at making decisions.
He's much better at it.
Finishing, passing, he's gotten a lot better. So that's
so dangerous on that Curry pick and roll where he gets it. He can do so much more defensively. He shoots threes at exactly the same percentage as Love right now. Exactly the same percentage.
Mm-hmm. And he's a great defensive player. So
yes.
Right now, straight up, you probably do take Draymond. It's still,
and he's as good a passer as Love can be. Green's a pretty freaking good passer himself too.
He is. So I don't know. It's a long season. Let's see how things pan out. If Love starts hitting threes the way he has historically hit them over the past 3-4 years.
He went 4 games without hitting a 3-pointer, man.
That's weird. I think there's something.
It's not like he wasn't taking them. He was taking them.
Something's off, and you can see him passing up wide open shots. And
yes.
It's like, what's the point of this? What's the point of this motion if you're not going to take those shots?
Yeah,
that's your game. Do it, man.
Yeah.
But I like how he played when he's playing aggressive and smart. Like I like how he gets the seal outs. He runs. He
does a lot of real smart stuff out there. I agree. It's just
so I'm not giving up on him yet. I'm hoping Look, we this past 2 weeks we had a lot of time off between games, which is one little X factor we should be looking for is how much more of the team gets coached up in this time off. You don't usually get this. I mean, I think we have had 2 games of rest at least, sometimes 3 days of rest. Between games for the past two weeks straight. I think the last time we've had a less than 2 days of rest was, I don't know, when was it? Just a while ago. Maybe right before the Heat game. That back-to-back. That may have been the last.
That back-to-back was for sure.
We've had a ton of time to practice, so that's encouraging. And so we'll see how it plays out in these games. There's some big games coming up. And we should say, I think this podcast might go out after the Boston game. This is all without having seen that. So I don't know. I think something's wrong with him physically, and I'm hoping it's something nagging that goes away and he gets fresh and is the player we saw in the first 2 weeks of the season. The player we saw in the first 2 weeks of the season, I'm excited about, and I'm not sure I trade that guy for Draymond Green. Although again, Draymond Green has his defense is a big X factor, which Kevin Love doesn't have and hurts you in those small ball lineups.
No, and I thought he'd been better this year. He was trying.
Yeah,
but
well, and then Love is Love on a great defensive team. If he's your one weak spot in a really good defensive team, is totally solid and actually makes a lot of smart, good hustle plays. And he can block some shots. Like, you put him in a good position to succeed, he's actually pretty good on defense. He's not a complete liability. But if you're asking him to do more, to be one of the top 2 guys in your defense, you're trying to have him stop a guy flying towards the that he's going to get destroyed and be exposed. Anyway, I think the biggest problem, would you agree, Matty, has been Mozgov, and I think it's no surprise, no secret that we finally crushed, took care of business on a night that Mozgov looked like his old self.
Yeah,
against Orlando. I think he's the biggest key to this defense right now. We can plug TT into small ball lineups, and we tend to not go use him in crunch time, but throughout the course of a 48-minute game, we need Mozgov's presence against a lot of lineups. And, you can talk about the small ball lineups and their death lineup, but, most of basketball, you have a lot of different teams and matchups you have to be able to play against. And what I loved about the Cavs roster is that we can mix and match against almost all styles. And, that's where we aren't athletic enough. It's like, we're not one-dimensional. We have a lot of ways to win. And I think we can hang with athletic teams too, but we can also beat up physical teams,
Right, and that's that. We're also relying on our coach to be able to recognize and execute strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying he can't, but
I haven't seen a lot of it this year.
I'm also not saying he can. And we've been super limited this year with the guys that we've had out. I get all that.
Mm-hmm.
But still.
Yeah. So I think we covered a lot of other bases. Talk about TT. He's not terrible, but he's nothing close to his playoff self right now.
No, Jesus, that's a lot of money spent on him. I mean, I know we had to do it. I get all that. We texted about this. I get it. That's the position we're in. We got to overpay for guys, but dear God, man.
Well, I think also I think he can play better than this. One, I think we know he can play better than this. Two, we keep talking about how people are going to snuff out that pick and roll. I'm like, yeah, but I'm kind of looking forward to if Kyrie is serious about not finishing at the rim all the time, he's going to be looking for things like this. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing Kyrie trying to run this pick and roll and have people so scared about that lob that they let him go to the basket without mauling him and the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to seeing if Kyrie can pick up on what Deli and TT have going. Certainly Mo has not been able to do it very much. He's
no. Mo's regressed a little.
Yeah, a little. It's been the old man, Richard Jefferson, has been really unexpectedly bad on defense. He was supposed to be better than this.
Was it the end of the this was super weird. The end of the Pelicans game, I think, where they were putting Richard Jefferson in on defense to guard one of their, I can't remember if it was Tyreek Evans or Gordon or Holiday, whoever it was. It was a terrible decision.
It was weird. The one time I noticed it was late when they benched Kevin Love to put him in there. My dad was with me watching. He was upset, like, why are we benching Kevin Love? And I said, I was like, this makes sense if we had Shump. I get what they're trying to do because Kevin Love is struggling on defense that night, and we needed to stop. I can see the idea behind it, but RJ just isn't bringing it on defense.
Yeah.
Trust
now,
him.
I was listening to national broadcasters makes me feel better in these times. So I listened to Zach Lowe's podcast a little bit ago, and even Simmons. And when the Cavs were brought up, they were just like, "Yeah, the Cavs are fine. I mean, they're doing what they need to do." I think Lowe was like, "They're just screwing around right now. They're playing Richard Jefferson and Jared Cunningham, and those guys aren't going to play when it matters."
Yeah.
So I think that's an important thing for us to keep in mind too.
Yep. And Shump is back, and man, he looked good. He looked so good.
He did.
Although I will say, his first couple of minutes in the court, he was getting eaten alive on those pick plays, freeing Oladipo.
Yeah, and that was
Um,
he had that problem in the finals too. His off-ball defense was just
his off-ball defense is still a problem, but
he
man,
can fall asleep sometimes.
Matty, you
You
there?
there? Yep, I'm
Oh,
there.
hey, oh, false alarm.
Whew.
I know. Yeah, he can fall asleep, but he does have that strip play. So
Yeah.
good.
His drives looked a little better. I mean, I don't want him doing that a whole lot, but that's
Get ready for it, Matt. That's what he said. He's been working on.
I
He
know.
looked all his tape, and he wasn't aggressive enough. Look, if he finishes like he finished tonight, which I don't expect him to do all the time, with both the 3-point shots and the finish at the rim, then fucking A, that's a great bonus that we haven't had before. But just focus on D. 3 and D, come on.
It's a nice thing to break out if disaster happens, but if we're healthy, he should not be doing any of that.
Yeah, exactly. And so we should be able to see Kyrie later this week. Probably not for the Boston game.
No, it sounds like he's going to come back Thursday, though, right?
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Oklahoma City game, TNT.
Yep. People keep saying he's been lights out in all of these practices, and it's getting harder and harder to hold him back. And Chris Hayes is talking about how Kyrie is pushing really hard and getting real mad about wanting to get out there, and they're not going to be able to hold him back anymore. I love this.
Patty, part of me really wants Kyrie to come out and just go bonkers.
Part of
the
you?
attention, yeah, because of the attention that Steph Curry's getting.
Oh my God, yes.
And Kyrie isn't that lights out a shooter for sure. Nobody is.
True.
Nobody is. But his handle is every bit as good, if not better. His finishing at the rim is better.
Mm-hmm.
I think he wants to come get some of that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him start shooting a ton more threes, just because he's still 43% 3-point shooter. Not for his career, but the last couple of years he's been hitting that pretty consistently. That's not that far below Steph Curry's percentages.
No.
So he's not that far off Steph. Anyway, and that's
I like what we
threes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
I'm excited to see this backcourt and the different permutations that we'll get. We're going to see some Delhi Kyrie action, which I think will be interesting. I think this will put JR in a better position to succeed.
Absolutely.
It'll put Mo where we really want.
We could put Mo we could put Mo against the right lineup where he's not exposed on defense and he can just focus on offense when he's hot.
And you could come in and Vinnie Johnson him. Come in, and if he's heating up and doing great, you can ride that hot hand for a little bit. And if it's not,
sit him down.
Yep.
And same with JR a little bit too. To be honest.
Oh yeah. For sure.
So did you read the Sports Illustrated article about LeBron?
Yes.
So what did you? There's been a lot of talk about this. LeBron's obsessed with the Warriors, right? That they're in his head and all that stuff. What are your thoughts on that? Is it appropriate? Is it worrisome, or is it just competitive fire?
I think it is appropriate, and it is competitive fire. They should be. I don't know that they're in his head. What is in his head?
No,
he can't sleep at night because they're the best team in the league right now. They're playing out of their minds.
And he's focused.
They beat us last year. They're the team to get. He should be thinking about them.
He's focused on destroying them, as he should be.
Yes.
This is totally legitimate to me.
Oh my God, that Christmas Day game.
Oh God, it's gonna be. I'm already nervous thinking about it.
I debated. I was thinking about trying to go to that game, and tickets are just absurd.
Oh, bonkers, right? Yeah.
It's so hard to get. So I ended up saying, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. We're going back to Cleveland, but we're flying at 5 a.m. so that I can get back in time to watch the entirety of that game.
That's devotion, my friend.
You got to do what you got to do, buddy.
It's almost as impressive as my waking up at 2 a.m. in Singapore to watch Game 4.
Oh yeah,
of the Boston series. Which is notable for another thing that happened. Matt, wasn't that the game where Kelly Olynyk had an awkward basketball play, totally honest, and a man's arm out of its socket?
You remember my question, Pat? I really 50% of me really wants Kevin Love first play of the game to just yank his arm out of his socket. Oops.
I'm a little awkward.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sort of unathletic and awkward, and I
Yeah.
was going for the ball.
Yeah.
I'll take my 1-game suspension.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I would love him forever. Would you
that
take back everything you said about him if he did that?
yes. Oh my God, that would be the level of aggression I've never seen from him. It would be incredible. I'd absolutely love it.
Oh my God, I hate these fuckers. I'm gonna be so mad if we lose this game. I'm gonna be so pissed.
Do you see
fucking pissed?
Do you see the Jay Crowder's expecting an apology from J.R. Smith thing that was floating around today?
Oh, what a bitch!
Don't hold your fucking breath, Jay.
Don't hold your breath. That ain't coming.
Might get smacked in the mouth again.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little worried about JR. You might get suspended again.
Yeah, that's okay.
His whole point that somebody said, like, did you reach out to JR like, immediately after it happened or the week after it happened when he was being all contrite and everything? That he's being super contrite, and they said, did you reach out to Jay? And he's like, no, I didn't reach out to him. It's like he's basically saying, no, you deserve to get punched in the mouth. It was dumb. I apologize to my teammates. I'm the one that let down. He's a mark-ass bitch.
Love it.
So great, so great. I don't have any analysis to give on them. We know how to beat them. We should do it. It's just a question of whether we're playing in our right mindset. Like, I can see us totally blowing this game, getting blown out like idiots. Which is
for sure. For sure. It'll be super frustrating. Their coach is super good. We'll have him ready to play.
Yeah.
Can adjust his game plan.
And they're pumped, right? Because they hate us. So they're going to be super up for this game, just like they were for Golden State. And they played out of their minds that night.
Yeah.
So I want to move into a few other small things before we wrap up with Browns and Tribe.
Sure.
I feel like you and I have reached a détente. Is the Cold War over, Matty?
Yeah. It is for now, unless they start playing real bad and I freak out again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that could happen.
That could happen at any moment in time. You could begin to sound like this. Wait, I said a little too early. Hold on.
Man, game over, man.
Oh, that's my favorite series. I just collected all of his whining lines from that movie, just to have them ready to throw.
So
at you
good.
all night. Yeah. All right, so I have some weird shit, Matty. The other night, a couple weeks ago, I don't usually remember my dreams, but I had this bizarre dream, and I need you to psychoanalyze it for me, Matty.
Please.
So I was waking up constantly because I have a 3-month-old, deep into sleep, and in my dream, I was at some party, kind of in a California-ish environment, maybe San Francisco area. I don't know. But California was definitely the place. It was a party where I kind of felt like I was at a place I didn't know anyone that was there. And for some reason, I'm sitting on a couch on a porch with a big comforter over my lap. And then in comes Tristan Thompson, and he sits down on the couch. And I move the comforter to make room for him because we're friends. Because apparently Tristan Thompson in this dream is simultaneously you, Matt Youngner.
Ooh.
Do you know how you have those dreams where somebody is two people at the same time?
Yeah.
So
sure.
He's both Tristan Thompson and he's also you. He sits down. I make room for him. I don't know why the comforter is here. This is a little homoerotic, but I make room for the comforter. He sits down and he complains about his back being hurt. And I'm concerned. I said, are you okay? Like, you going to be able to play? And then he mumbled something and seemed to be disinterested and got up to go talk to somebody else because I was apparently being boring. And I realized, oh, shit, that was the only guy I knew at the party. I'm staying by myself again. What does that dream mean, Matt?
You're worried that I'm too cool to be friends with you.
I don't think so. Tristan Thompson was in the dream.
No, you said Tristan Thompson was me. He came down to talk to you. He was bored because you weren't doing anything for him, and he left. That's your constant worry, Pat. We've been down this road a million times, you and I.
Is that really true?
I'm not gonna abandon you, buddy.
Matt, no, but the problem
Don't
is,
worry.
Matt, if you're my marker for cool, things are in bad shape for me socially.
Yeah,
this is bad.
Yeah,
what have I done with my life, Matt? You're my cool Matt. Wait. Are you my cool friend? Are you my cool friend?
I hate to break it to you, buddy.
Jesus Christ. Whew, thank God for Becca.
You're in bad shape.
Well, Becca has cool friends. So I get to hang out with them by
That's true.
extension. Speaking of Becca, I had a few random Becca's ballin' moments from the few moments of basketball we were able to watch together since our last podcast.
Let's hear him.
She said that Vucevic looked like he was raised in a Transylvanian castle. Nick
Interesting.
Vucevic.
Oh, I've got a quick Vukovic note for you, Patty.
Oh, what's that?
This is maybe a month ago, maybe after an Orlando game. Our friend Dave Deming, texts us and says, "I just listened to Vukovic in a post-game interview, and he talks like a wigger. What's going on with that?" And my response was, "He learned how to speak English in Orlando. What did you think was going to happen?"
Makes total sense. Absolutely.
Right?
That's great.
But I agree with Becca. He does look a little vampirish.
It's crazy. Also, it's weird. I don't know why doesn't he shoot the ball like 40 times a game? Whenever I watch him play, he can't miss a goddamn thing.
He's good.
Why doesn't he shoot the ball 20 times a game? It's crazy. It's like, what percentage does he shoot? It's crazy.
Orlando's a little
Weird,
better than I was giving them credit for.
Mm-hmm. That was an impressive victory. Like, they weren't a terrible team. They weren't good.
They were. I think we just caught. They were coming off a road trip. They just clearly did not have their mojo working.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they beat the crap out of somebody tonight. Yeah, they're bad. That win was not a bad one.
Another observation she had, which is funny because it wasn't intended the way it was received. She saw Delhi get the ball and just immediately launch a three and nail it. And she goes, "Wow, they'll let anyone take a shot." But she meant it's a positive thing. Like, that's what's great about the Cavs. They'll just let anyone take a shot. Like, that's a positive thing about the Cavs. I was like, there's a lot of guys who'd say the exact same thing, but differently. Lastly, she was saying that Movember was not doing Andy Varejao any favors, and I have to agree. He looked super creepy.
The mustache is weird on him.
With that hair combo, no good.
Mm-hmm.
Any new moves for you on your power kill list?
I mean, Draymond is just number one with a bullet right now.
Yeah, big time. He and Curry now have I forget if they already moved what's his name, Mike Dunleavy out of number one.
Mike Dunleavy hasn't played yet this year,
so he's
it's a little tough.
So they're occupying number one and number two right now, and particularly like there's clips of them like getting asked questions about the Utah Jazz. You played them real tough, and it was a close game, and Utah fell short in the end, and they were just laughing about the suggestion that Utah's a good team.
Apparently that's not true.
Laughing. Really?
Apparently that's not true, Patty. Yeah, I don't like to tell you this, but apparently I listened to a podcast. It was Zach Lowe's last podcast with Ethan Sherwin Strauss, who's covers them, and he said it was actually
Golden State apologist, right?
He is a bit of a Golden State apologist, but he said he was asking a question, they were laughing at him, and it just got misinterpreted by another writer that was there. And he was like, "Yeah, we sort of broke Twitter for a little bit after that one."
Yeah,
so,
it's not like even though immediately after that game, I've been hearing them be much more respectful in their answers.
Yeah, no, they're obnoxious. I
think that's a poser. I think they were laughing at them and they got caught being total dicks. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
That's fine. Who was the Versteeg wanted us to put somebody on the kill list the other day.
Oh, shit.
Hold on, I'll remember. Give me 1 second.
Damn. It's right at the tip of my tongue. You looking up the text?
No, I'm actually just pulling up our schedule because I'll remember once I see. It wasn't anybody on Orlando. It was.
No, I think it was like the game or two before.
Mm-hmm.
Was it? I think it might have been the game before. Wasn't it Pelicans? No. Well, this isn't very exciting, Matty.
No. So, anybody else make your list?
Nope. That's it. That's basically all I'm at right now. Most of my frustration is focused on the Cavs, so no one else is really on my radar at the moment.
They've been angering you enough.
Yes, they're not quite on the kill list, but they've been angering me enough. A big question about handshake analysis. Can we declare the Kevin Love JR handshake to be the best? I laugh every time I see it.
Yes, that one is really good.
And you can always spot it in the background of shots. It's great. It's fantastic.
Patty, it was against Portland It was
Oh yeah. Noah Vonla? No.
Alfarica Minu.
Aminu. Yeah.
That's who it was. He didn't make it for me.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't watch the whole thing. As I was still doing my little in and out stuff because I was that was date night, Matty. Date night, quality of life, Matty.
Yeah, abandoning the franchise that could win a championship, but I understand.
I take little breaks. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, Matty. You know that.
I guess so.
So the last pod we did, we redid our most likely to list. I don't know. We maybe we'll skip it this week, but just to do some tracking, we had who's the most likely to get the LeBron exasperated parent look. I don't think I jotted down your answers. I jotted down mine. I said Mo. I think I nailed that one.
Yeah, I think you did.
He got a lot. He's been terrible. Most likely to follow the rotation, RJ. That didn't really happen.
Nah, he's been there pretty consistently. I don't know that anybody's really fallen out.
No. What Andy? We thought bounce into the rotation. That did not happen. So
yeah, he never really got in though.
Yeah, no,
fall
exactly.
back out.
Exactly. It's too bad. I don't like Fear the Sword. Cavs Twitter being right about Andy.
I know. Well, it's a long season still. I think they're being patient with him.
All right, I guess. I hope so. We'll see. All right, Maddie, should we move on to the Browns? Do we have to?
Let's do a little. I just want to ask you my question.
Okay, shoot.
So, if somebody came to you and said the Browns are going to move to LA, they're going to become the LA, whatever the LA football team is going to be. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Haslam's going to own them. They're gone. But in 2 years, you will get an expansion team. Same deal as the last time. We get essentially the same deal as the last one, right? So history stays with us, colors stay with us. We're still the Browns, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Do you take that deal?
Yeah, you asked me this, and I'm so down on Haslam and how disastrously unfixable this situation seems. Certainly is at least 2 years away, right?
At least
minimum. It's probably more like 3 to 4, or longer, or 20
depending on who gets fired after this. Yeah, it's
right. It's very tempting, but I think I say no. Rationally speaking, I think you have a very good case for it. How could it get any worse? Wouldn't it be better? This is the best chance to get a new owner. 2, to get a good GM that gets a ton of draft picks to be able to build his team from scratch.
Yep.
When you said exactly the same deal as last time, that's one big hiccup. The Browns got a shitty deal in their 99 expansion, and Terry Pluto actually, we give him a lot of shit in this podcast, mostly out of love because I do love Terry Pluto. He wrote a good book about this, about how the NFL totally screwed the Browns, giving them less time to prepare, giving them, I think, not even the same number of draft picks kind of shit. Like, we did not get as nearly a generous a package as the Panthers and the Jaguars did when they started. Mm-hmm. So I want a package like that, number one. But,
okay, that's fair enough.
But it hurts too much even though they suck, to have Browns go away for another 2 years. That's one of those like traumatic experiences in my childhood that sticks with me. Left for 3 years. That it's almost like having flashbacks. That's too much for me. I even if they suck, I'd rather the Browns still be here and be my Browns, the shitty Browns.
Not me.
To me, having no Browns is worse than having a shitty Brown.
No, I'd rather just cleanse my palate, get them out of there for a couple years. It's gonna be bad. I mean, this season has been awful. This has been the worst season to me since they've been back.
They can't even lose properly. We need to lose, and then they win. Of course, they had their first blowout in forever.
No, and everybody's excited now. Maybe Johnny Football is going to be good, and maybe we should keep petting. And
that's dumb. Don't worry, we have to play Seattle soon. That optimism is going to die real fast. Maybe also, Matty. Maybe it's a little bit of the Stockholm syndrome. I'm the abused spouse that just can't quit them.
Yeah, I think that's totally possible.
I've been traumatized and terrorized by them, so I can't let them go. That may be a little something's going on right now. But,
I would say goodbay and not think twice.
Yep.
I'd miss Joe Thomas, maybe Joe Hayden. That's it.
Yeah, that's probably about it. Hey, Matty, speaking of players, did Dwayne Bowe play?
I believe he was a healthy scratch.
Hey, I saw a funny number. Tom Brady, a noted wide receiver.
Tom Brady?
He has more wide receiving yards than Dwayne Bowe this year.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, at least Rainbow has more catches. I think he has 2. All right. So, anything else with Browns, or should we move on to the Tribe?
No, that's it. I don't want to talk about them anymore. Quick Tribe stuff.
Yeah. I have not been following them, so you got to tell me.
So it was a very quiet winter meeting. The big thing for the Tribe is that, not surprisingly, their outfield lacks some depth. And especially within Michael Brantley had knee surgery. I think knee surgery, shoulder. I can't remember. Just after the season, and he's not going to be ready immediately. There was an initial report that it was going to be much longer, and he wouldn't be back till June. Now it seems like just a few weeks. That he'll be back at the end of April. So it feels like they need to add depth there. What can they trade? Can they trade from their core of starting pitching, or their prospects? They didn't make any moves there, and it's sort of unclear. I think I'm happy about that. I didn't really want to see them trade Carrasco. Was the one people really like.
That's the one move. That's sort of like the best move is the move you don't make. If they don't trade Carrasco, that's a huge win in the offseason.
I feel good. I feel good about it. Now, on the other hand, starting pitching is absurdly, like, the contracts that are getting handed out or continue to boggle the mind.
Yep.
And Carrasco is so cheap for so long that theoretically you could just pull a king's ransom for him. So I think they're being smart and evaluating options. They just haven't had anything come across yet. I think they keep waiting for the market to shake out. Cueto just signed with the Giants today for a bunch of money.
That's a stacked rotation.
Yeah. So I think you wait and see how desperate teams get. But my concern is if they go into their minors, they have a little pitching depth in their minors, Justice Sheffield and the kid they got from the Cardinals last year for Brandon Moss.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of want them to just play and just dip into free agency a little bit for a stopgap. I feel like they have outfield help coming. We can roll Chisenhall out there and again this year in a platoon and feel decent about that in right field. And
that redhead played pretty well in winter ball, didn't he?
Yeah. Both of those guys are playing well. Zimmer and Frazier.
Yep.
So I think I'd rather see them do that and just stick with that rotation. That should be really good and hopefully just get a little health luck. Gomes going down last year, I think, really derailed them.
Yeah.
For a bunch of different reasons. And you hope for a little bit of a bounce back year from Carlos Santana and a full year of Lindor and run with it. So I think people are disappointed. They got some not great grades from the winter meetings because they didn't do much, but baseball is an unlevel playing field, to say the least.
I almost forgot about Francisco Lindor. It just made me smile.
Oh, that's going to be
he's awesome.
So fun for a full year of him next year.
Seriously, right?
Yeah, it's going to be really good. So I know it's tough. It's tough to be a Tribe fan sometimes, right? Because you just can't compete, and baseball sucks a little bit in that way. But I personally have gotten very fond of rooting for a team with a more limited budget.
Yeah,
I think that's really interesting. It's clearly been demonstrated that those teams can win.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Indians are smart. We haven't really talked about Shapiro leaving.
Oh yeah,
and taking Ross Atkins with him. Don't think it's a big deal, but I think we have a good, well-regarded front office that does about as best as it can. And you got to catch a couple breaks, and we just haven't caught him in the last couple of years.
It's sort of weird. Why was Shapiro pushed out? Why? What was the deal?
I think he had just from everything I've read, there's absolutely no bad blood or anything. He just been here. My sense is he just been here for 20 years and was like, I want to go try something else.
He didn't want to stand in Eddie's way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that's part of it. And he gets to go play around with an enormous budget and do that stuff in Toronto. So I don't think there's any ill will, outside of our ownership. I think it's a really well run organization. And to the Dolan's credit, they pretty much stay out of the way.
That's true.
I like them to cut some more checks, but it's catch-22 here. Nobody's going to the games anymore.
Yeah. No, exactly.
And so they don't spend because nobody's going to the game. Nobody goes to the games because they don't spend. It's a little tricky.
It's a vicious cycle.
So I'm hoping they come out hot this year.
That'd be nice for a change.
Yeah. So anyway, there'll be more, but it was a quiet winter meeting for them, and I'm personally okay with that.
All right, I'll buy that. I'm into the try this year, and hopefully they won't be on the cover of Sports Illustrated this year.
No, I think we got that out of the way.
Thank God,
goodness.
assholes. No, thank you, Sports Social. Can you just
No.
ask us first
Yeah.
if we would like the honor? They would like to decline this honor.
Yeah.
All right, so next podcast, I'm not sure when because I'm traveling to Cleveland again. Maybe Sunday night. I'm going to be in Cleveland for the annual McMenamin holiday party on Saturday night.
Sorry to miss it.
We're sorry to miss you. I think your mom might be coming though.
Oh, I hope so.
I'll say hello to your mother for you.
Please do.
And then, but maybe Sunday night because I don't think we drive. We don't head back until Monday afternoon. I don't think.
Yeah, that could work for me.
So maybe Sunday night. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. We'll see what happens. Worst case scenario, sometime over the holidays, we'll do a catch up. We'll definitely. I think we should aim to do a podcast before the big game.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, we got some good tests coming up with Boston and Oklahoma City. We should talk before then.
Exactly.
One way or the other.
Agree. What do you think our record is? So how many games? So what are our games before Golden State? Let's take a look at them briefly, and then we'll wrap up. We have Boston on tomorrow night, Tuesday night, which should be probably the night our listeners are listening tomorrow.
Oklahoma City on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't remember what's after that.
Well, I've got it. I'm loading it up here in front of me. And then we've got Sixers on Sunday. It's a nice little break.
3 Sixers games already this year. Jeez,
that's crazy. All those getting out of the way, and then we have the Knicks on Wednesday. 2 days before
our third Knicks game of the year.
I know, crazy. And again, they are no pushovers anymore. They're a decent team. But again, we get all these time off. We get like 2 days off between.
No, I want to see us be.
Game.
I want to see us be 3-1 after this at a minimum.
3-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't lose to the 76ers or Knicks, and I could take a loss to the Celtics or Thunder. But if Kyrie comes back,
we'll see.
National TV on Thursday, I'd anticipate us winning that game. Tomorrow night's the one I'm most worried about.
I agree with you. I'm 100% with you. So yeah, I agree with you. 3-1 is what I think we'll probably end up being walking into the Warriors game. So, all right, Matty. I think that does it for the Cleveland Sports Hour. A little technical difficulties, but hopefully after I have a chance to edit this thing, it'll be somewhat seamless.
Seamless.
Until next time, this is Matty and Patty saying. Ship.
Nice.
Well done. Hey.
All right, buddy.